Hello folks, and welcome to another episode in our Welsh adventure. We're still at a lovely cottage. If you've not seen the rest of the videos so far, please do go check them out. We've been staying here for a week, looking at all sorts of stuff, going on nice walks. But today, it's one I've been excited for actually. We're about to go to a haunted castle. It's called Hopton Castle, and it's just in the countryside, about sort of 15-20 minutes away from where we are currently. So I couldn't give it a miss. I love all things paranormal. I'm not necessarily a full-on believer, I don't think, but I definitely think there's possibilities of it, and I love kind of exploring stuff like that. So me and the boys are going to jump in the car, hop over to Hopton Castle. I've got the story and the backstory behind what makes it so haunted to let you guys know as well, so you can join in with the history. Should be fun. And Dan Alsop has appeared, and he's looking menacing. Defensible.
It's busy in here.
Well, there we have it, Hopton Castle. There's a lot of sheep around here, and they're looking at us in menacing ways, but we're going to have a little rummage inside, and I'm going to tell you the story of Hopton Castle and why it's renowned as one of... Oh, that's weird. The camera's just turned itself to look at Dan. Very strange. Why the fuck's my camera pissing around? Come on, it's the ghost. Lock onto me. There we go. Lovely stuff. Hopton Castle. We're going to have a little rummage inside, tell you a little bit about the history, why this is renowned. It's one of the most haunted castles here. Spooky stuff. We've got the terrifying lighting for when it does inevitably get dark within the next 20 minutes because the sun has just dipped below the grounds. And also we've got fog machine over here for spooky effects. You are more terrifying than the ghost. Leaflets, everything. Trouble that. Not really. Now, as you go through this doorway here, this doorway's probably got the most gruesome bit of the history. If this is the original doorway, which I assume it must be. So, in the middle of Hopton Castle, you can only get on the ground floor, obviously because the original stairs have eroded away and they haven't got anything else to get up there. But very, very cool. But I've got a bit of history here. about why it's got such a gruesome past and why it's quite haunted, if you believe in that kind of thing. So, it was built as a border castle against the Welsh. And between the years of 1642 and 1651, during the English Civil War, Cromwell's forces tried to take on the 33-man garrison and their commander, who were held up in here. They managed to repel them for weeks in this castle. They managed to hold this castle for weeks against siege. But classic castle problems. Why do we think they struggled at the end?
They ran out of supplies.
They ran out of supplies. That old classic. So yeah, they ran out of food and water. So they came to a bargain with the people that were sieging, in an attempt to kind of spare their life. They in exchange for letting them out, they said, "We'll come out, but we want imprisonment, not execution." So they said yes. So the leader of the garrison came out, the commander, and he was held at knife point. And then his men were one by one beheaded and their bodies kicked into the moat, literally just outside that door. And their commander had to watch every single one be brutally murdered in front of his eyes, just outside that door there. The heads were then staked to the roof of the castle, and then the castle was destroyed, and the colonel again was forced to watch it as it was destroyed. There is a spooky story about the front door where you could apparently see people leaving the main gate, so full-bodied apparitions leading through the main door, and just as they passed the door, their heads would disappear, and it would just be their body walking out. 33 people, obviously. Classic, there was a spirit box investigation here. People always come here to do a lot of ghost investigations, apparently, like independent ghost paranormal investigators, if you like. Come here with the spirit box, which is the thing that kind of goes through radio frequencies and apparently allows spirits to communicate through that. A classic couple of words came out when somebody did spirit box. Do you want to have a guess at what words came out on a spirit box investigation?
You don't want me to guess because it won't be allowed on camera. Chicken jacket.
Chicken jacket. It was murder and head.
Classic.
You know.
Crazy. Sister.
And if you believe in that, the coincidence of the word coming through like that, when you got the story of the decapitations outside, pretty nuts. Rest of its history was okay. It became inaccessible in 2008, but then the Preservation Trust picked it up in 2006, and then Time Team came along on Series 17, Episode 6, and the castle featured in their episodes on 2010, and they spent 3 days excavating the castle, bringing it back to this point where people can come inside and have a little look around. But yeah, Hopton Castle, pretty spooky, and if you're into the kind of paranormal, the idea of seeing full-bodied apparitions walking through that main entrance, and then one by one their heads disappearing as they were beheaded and kicked into the moat, is pretty horrifying, to say the least. But yeah, let us know in the comments what you think. Have you got any other castles with a similar gruesome past that you think is worth a visit? I quite like Hopton Castle. It's been pretty cool.
The thing is about old castles as well.
Yeah.
If they were built for royalty, they always had secret entrances.
Yeah, good point.
A bit of knowledge. There's not been a castle found that hasn't had at least 3.
Oh shit. So I'm just going to look around the edge of the castle, see if we can see any secret entrances.
Has that been restored, do you reckon?
I don't know. Yeah, it must be quite difficult to restore something.
I reckon that's been restored, that. If you look at the rest of the house.
Yeah, does look a bit different, does it?
Original pasta are on the outside.
So we're definitely a bit lower here, look.
Oh, hang on. Oh, here we go. There's a stone I dropped. There's an entire room in there.
Is it?
Might have been the dungeons.
Could have been.
Or a dungeon. Might have been, I don't know.
Can you see far back?
Not very far, no. There's the opposite wall. Maybe a bathroom. Maybe a cellar, who knows?
Have a look.
Yeah, I think these bits have been restored, yeah. With the flat bits. Yeah.
Probably structural repairs, I assume.
It's a good point, actually. Let's be honest, it's probably structural repairs, right, to make sure it doesn't collapse.
I mean, that's 100%.
That is smooth as dick.
Yeah.
Do you reckon it's like Jenga? If you pull one stone at the bottom of here, the whole thing will come down.
So Jackson just made a very good spot. Very clearly some foundations or something over there.
Well, I mean, actually, to be fair, if you look around,
Oh yeah, there's quite a few, like...
Oh yeah, I would imagine it is.
probably.
Well, I was going to say. See, that's what I mean. I think this if it's the original castle.
Yeah, it could be.
Although there is, well, I don't know how big the original castle was, but it looks like way too many rocks. It could be anything.
What did you say? What year?
So, just before the sun dips, these things that we were discussing a minute ago, we've had a bit of clarification from Jackson's other half, who happens to be in history. She reckons it's parts of the castle that have been like taken out and kind of put there, or maybe it could have been parts of the original castle that this was built on top of, but most likely it was pieces of rubble or castle, and it's kind of ground's grown over them. So it sounds like this geezer, Samuel Moore here, he could have done. He was sent over to capture Hopton Castle.
Looks like a deep fried potato.
As a bit of a base in order to set up and then raid. What was they trying to get?
Brampton Bryan Castle,
Brampton
the
Bryan
nearest
Castle.
neighbours.
Which I assume is a bigger castle.
Yeah, it says it was a parliamentarian stronghold.
Right. So they wanted that. They said, right, we need a base nearby. Sam, go crack on.
These 31 men arrived with only muskets, carbines, pistols and fowling guns, and they managed to hold out for 5 weeks against royalist troops.
Damn.
He wrote an account of the siege, which paints a vivid picture.